Hi, everybody. Welcome to the IC Topic Chat. For today, we are at the end of February 2026. I guess it's the 26th. Isn't that crazy? 226, 26. Anyhow,
Yep.
we are joined today by Christiana Martin. She had this wonderful Birds of a Feather session last October when we were at the AEA conference, or was it November? Whatever month it was.
November.
Last fall. Yeah, it was November, wasn't it? Um, on the no niche or no niche independent evaluator. You can see the presentation title up on the screen. And I asked her to come and join us and share what she learned and the conversation that she had at that Birds of a Feather session with us. And so, without further ado, Christiana, thanks for coming and joining us. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Matt. Thank you for inviting me to host this session right after the Birds of a Feather session last year. And thank you to all of you for choosing to be here today. I'd like to say that I'm very happy to contribute with the IC chats, where I have learned already so much from all of you. So I have prepared our conversation with intention, care, and I hope to be able to offer something insightful and honor your decision to be here today. So my presentation is about a no niche independent evaluator. I don't think it's a problem to not have a niche, or maybe we can frame it as experiences of a specialized generalist independent consulting practice, or maybe even how to craft your niche. So just on today's agenda to see you can see where we're going. I have a initial disclaimer, how this session came about being a specialized generalist, my experience so far, some pros and cons in my opinion, and maybe not so final considerations, and then we can chat a little bit. So the initial disclaimer is that I don't have all the answers or any, but I do have ideas, a few maybe. And only you can decide if these ideas are good for you. So at this point, I think that Smokey the Bear is already like a mascot of the IC chats. I know maybe it's Becky's mascot. I'm not so sure, but here we are. So yeah, with that disclaimer in mind, hi, I'm Cristiana Martin. I've been an independent consultant for the past 6 years. The time flew by, but I've been an evaluator for the past 12 years. I also work with qualitative research, mainly opinion research, and I joined the IC chats on late 2024, and it's been great so far. As I mentioned, I learned so much. So yeah, it's a real thrill to be here today. So how this another niche session came about? Well, you must be thinking, Matt just did a session on niche identification like 3 or 2 weeks ago. So what's this? You're not wrong. Matt really just did the session. But I have a few ideas, or I'd like to reflect a little bit more about the topic, which I did like last year at the EA. So just to recap what we usually talk about when we talk about niche identification here at the IC Chats. So Matt talks about the fox versus the hedgehog idea, ikigai, get the flywheel turning, keep the main thing, be careful with the golden handcuffs, and to say no to a lot of things. And just to go a little bit further, the idea of the fox versus the hedgehog is that you should focus on being good on one thing, like the hedgehog does. And this one thing would be composed of what do you love, what are you good at, what can you get paid for. If we put together with the ikigai idea, then you would add what does the world need. So ikigai would be like the meaning of life or something like it. I'm not specialized in that. The idea of get the flywheel turning would be like keep showing up. Showing up and focusing on one direction. You could get momentum from showing up, and then that can lead you to a successful independent consulting practice. Keep the main thing. The main thing is that just don't get distracted. Don't do what you're not supposed to be doing. And careful with the golden handcuffs. It's a concept that I really like. It's just don't do the things that you're good at, but eventually you actually hate those things. Please try to escape that idea. And finally, say no to a lot of things. Focus on the right yeses for you. But as I looked through all of these ideas that are very helpful indeed, I ended up thinking that maybe I don't have a niche. I may know niche evaluator. So what do I do? Because I'm not, just looking forward and, trying to find something that's very specific and marching towards it, like not looking at the sides. And I was like, man, is that no niche? What does it mean? I was like, do I still have a space to work? Is that a dumb idea? Should I keep doing this? And maybe no niche is a niche. Is it? I don't know. So I started saying that I was a no niche evaluator. And why I went for a no niche niche. Maybe no niche is a niche, as I said. Um, so I would get bored by working with only one subject matter forever, as I did during my master's. I eventually got bored of everything. Though I know I still enjoyed the topic I studied, but one thing at a time, it's not enough for me. I'm way too curious about too many things. Maybe it's FOMO or just indecisiveness or something else. I don't know. But I know that I have that in me. I also know I'm not curious about absolutely everything. I know my realm. And it can be a way to future-proof my independent consulting practice or make it more crisis resistant. And it has been. The fact that I have worked with opinion research has helped me a lot, even financially. And maybe it's just a longer path to crafting, building, or finding a so-called traditional niche. So then I came across the idea of being a specialized generalist. And generalist normally doesn't have like a positive light on. People say it's like jack of all trades, master to none. So like you're good at a few things, but you're not good enough in any of those. And that, it's not what you want to sell or, associate with when you're trying to sell your services. But then I came across this article, What's a Specialized Generalist and Why You Should Become One. And that was sort of a relief for me. So a specialized generalist is a person with a deep expertise in one area, combined with a broad understanding of several related fields. And in a way, aren't we all in this situation? Like as independent consultants, people usually say we need to wear like a lot of hats because we have several attributions besides the main thing, like doing evaluations. And I always say, I don't wear several hats. I have several heads. They're thinking at different things at the same time because we need to carry on the business aspect, the evaluation, and everything else. And everybody knows at this point how much things we need to take into consideration, not just do the job. So it also, this specialized generalist idea also carries the T shape as one to help us understand what it is about. So we have like a broad set of perspectives, which would be like the idea of the fox. And then you have a few things that are well-developed skills, which is like would be the idea of the hedgehog. And if we go further, maybe we could talk about being jack of many trades and master to few trades. And then I also thought maybe a niche is made of several niches or maybe several aspects. It's not a one thing only, like it's very different pieces. And it's a little less abstract than what you love, what you can be paid for, what the world needs. Maybe these are two broad categories. So I kept thinking about the type of organizations we work with, the methods that we're more comfortable with doing, evaluations, the places we cover, like we're regions, countries, states, rural, urban areas, the languages that we can work on, and even knowledge fields. But also, because knowledge fields is what I used to think like almost exclusively as what we could define as a niche. And we can also think about the client relationship we like to have. So taking all these things into consideration, my experience as a specialized generalist so far is composed of these aspects in the following way. So organizations, I think I am a jack of many trades. I work with several types of organizations. Knowledge fields, same thing. Methods, languages, type of client relationship, I am more master of few. These are more specialized things that I have in my palette even. And places in project components, maybe I can juggle a little bit of being more specialized in a couple things, maybe other not so much. So a little going a little further with that, what am I specialized on? I am a sociologist. I work with qualitative opinion research and qualitative evaluation. I do it through the facilitation techniques. And the client relationship that I like is the ones that I can have a close relationship with the client. I like to feel almost that I'm part of their organization. And as for the generalist side, it's like I have like subjects menu that's quite broad. So I have worked with several different topics, and I really enjoy it when I have a new topic come my way. Just recently, I started a project on WASH, water and sanitation. And I remember that when I last participated at the subcontractor fair, I said I wanted to work with WASH. So it's just very new. I am digging deep into this world. It's fascinating and I'm enjoying it very much. So it's just one other topic to add to this subjects menu. And just a little pros and cons, in my opinion, of being more of a specialized generalist. So we have exposure to different institutional models like UN agencies, bilateral donors, community organizations, and the also diverse set of methodologies, which I think strengthens our adaptability. I think that as independent consultants, we need to be adapted on so many aspects, and these are others that may come our favor. It's a continuous cross-sector learning and innovation. It helps developing systems thinking perspective that identifies transferable lessons and knowledge across the sectors. You can reduce sector-based blind spots and maybe the risk of implicit bias. So I have several examples of on how being like an outsider was beneficial to an evaluation because I wasn't afraid to ask the like dumb questions or beginner questions and question assumptions. Making a lifelong learning a necessity rather than a choice. And the spirit of collaboration, getting to work with subject matter specialists and learn from them, to me, it's fascinating. It's great. I don't think that specialists usually think as evaluators. And if we can focus on evaluation, subject matter specialists help us like a lot to improve our work. This approach can also be an asset for a beginning independent consultant while building like a portfolio, redirecting towards fields and opportunities of their interest. So maybe it's just a time, a season of our career, and it can be a way to future-proof independent consulting practice and dodge sectoral crisis, as I've mentioned before. And some cons, you are constantly feeling that your knowledge is not enough. This can be stressful. It may harness the ability to focus on the user evaluation if you don't know main players and actors at times. And it can be draining when you have like 3+ projects from different knowledge fields, since it's tiring to shift knowledge fields gear all the time, and maybe the type and the scope of projects all the time. This can be like tiring or draining. And then we reach like my not so final considerations. So I don't think it's a problem if you don't have a niche yet or ever. However, I do believe the easiest aspect to not have a niche or to be a generalist is the regarding knowledge field. In theory, I think it's an opportunity open for everybody to work like in a more generalized way. However, I don't believe that everybody feels comfortable with being a generalist regarding knowledge fields because it may take a lot of time to conduct your projects. The endlessly curious and those that have more than one passion may benefit more from it or maybe feel more comfortable. Because you constantly feel like a beginner and can be stressful at times. So as long as you're comfortable with that, that's fine. And finally, to me, this is one of the beauties of being an independent consultant because you can craft your niche however suits you best. These are a couple of ideas. Matt has shared more wisdom on niches before. And if you put everything together, you're able to find a space in our practice that can suit you and that you can feel comfortable with. And sometimes you already have a niche, you just haven't called it or identified as a niche yet because it may feel more general than specialized. So maybe the way you look at what you do can help you just understand that maybe you're not a no niche as I used to think. I think I have a niche nowadays. It's a no niche, but it's a niche. And thank you. I think that was what I wanted to share today. And I'd love to hear your thoughts and ideas.
Well, thank you for that. Now, I do want to challenge you a little bit because it sounds like your no niche actually has some definition from what I'm hearing. Now, what you're kind of pushing away from is saying, I'm only going to work with this type of client. Like, whereas I would say I do educational, particularly post-secondary STEM evaluation, right? So that's kind of breaking down my industry sector. And you're saying I don't want to, I want to be wide within my industry sector. But you did also talk about your background in sociology, and you talked about your interest in particularly working with qualitative. So that you are carving out something. You are saying that if somebody asks you for hierarchical linear modeling studies, you're not going to say, "Oh, I could do that. Sure, why not?" Right?
Yeah, I mean, wait. Yeah, I think actually interesting you say that, Matt, because um, when, as I said, I used to think myself as a no niche uh, independent evaluator. And when I held the session last year, I kept thinking of more aspects, around niche and how suitable may be for me or not at this point in my career. So, yes, nowadays I would say that I have a niche, but also the idea of being a broader, something more broad, not very specialized is also a niche, it's also how you can think of your practice and how you go about your independent consulting business.
And I'm going to pause the recording in just a second to get other people's thoughts on this, but I do want to kind of reflect a little bit on this. One of the things that, for me, the niche evolved. It evolved in ways I never expected it to, because my original intent was I'm also going to be region based. I was going to try and only serve southwestern Illinois near the St. Louis community, or perhaps into Missouri, which I certainly do. Um, but what happened was there were specific types of programs that I learned a lot about. And I liked those programs and I liked the people I was working with. And they kept saying, you should work with Matt, you should work with Goshen. And my niche, whatever, expanded and it grew. And I became I had a specific talent a within a certain funding program. And so people would reach out to me and reach out to the people I worked with for support. And, it was a natural evolution. And so we became more and more specific and actually specialized, and perhaps even were able to be more profitable because we were really good at it. We could get it done really fast. We enjoyed it, and the clients loved us for that. So that's how my experience with the niche evolved. And I'm not saying that was right or wrong, but it was a very comfortable evolution for us. And I continue to have little pieces of that continue to grow and develop. And I'm in the middle of my own version of change, but I'm seeing niches evolve just in a very natural way. So I think in some ways we need to just give credence to the fact that we're kind of along for the ride, but we need to continue to remind ourselves we should be doing the things that we enjoy and that we're good at, and hypothetically we can make some money at, and that is going to benefit the world. I'm sorry, that was just my my reflections. Did you have some other thoughts on that, or
I
response?
Just to point out on what you mentioned, Matt, I think like you're completely right. I mean, niche is something that evolves. I mean, we know we're gonna like face rebranding at some point. You're gonna start with something, and then you're gonna face rebranding. You're gonna face, a deeper understanding of what is your niche or how it has evolved, maybe naturally or maybe intentionally. So yeah, it's fluid, I guess. It's a point of reference, but it's not something that's like stuck, it's not written in stone. I I think so.
Okay. Well, I know other people want to jump in on this conversation. I like to give them the privacy of being able to say whatever they want to say without having it recorded for all of the YouTube world to see and to be used against us. God forbid I ever run for political office, I'm sure there's hours of material that people could use against me at some point. So maybe I'll never do that. But I do want to thank you for joining us today, Cristiana. We, for all those people who are live here with us, I want you to stick around, but everybody out in YouTube land, we'll see y'all later.